I'm your very own author, Archana Ramakrishna. So, why am I here today? Today, I wanted to discuss a very sensitive topic where half of it I have already discussed in my last chapter, Sudha's confession, and the other half I am going to be discussing tomorrow. So, what is the topic? The topic is postpartum blues or postpartum depression. Both are two different things. I'll explain what are postpartum blues and what are postpartum depression. So, let me tell you how I came to this and then I'll go ahead with the topic. So initially in my plot, what I had written was Colonel Bhatt and Mrs. Bhatt, they cheat behind Sudha's back, and that's why she attempts suicide and she kills herself. So this was my original plot, but then something happened to me and I decided to change everything. The manuscript which I wrote initially had this plot and Colonel Butt confessing how he cheated with his first wife and how she committed suicide. So then, as and when I started writing, Colonel Bhatt's character started receiving a lot of love and respect. People started thoroughly loving his character. So I could not tarnish his character by dragging him into any of these controversies. So I thought really hard how to come up with a valid reason to show that his first wife committed suicide. Then it's occurred to me that there is an issue which nobody talks about, but it is prevalent. Nobody discusses about it. It is postpartum blues, which if not treated, it leads to postpartum depression. So let me clarify. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist, and neither am I a patient of that. But I have suffered postpartum blues during my postpartum. So I want to discuss how exactly I felt and how exactly I came up with it. So what happened was, let me talk about my pregnancy. My pregnancy was awesome. I did not get the feeling of being pregnant, because for the rest of the world, being pregnant means vomiting, back pain, loss of appetite, all those hormonal changes and everything. But for me, it was not the case. It was just that I was just putting on weight. I had a big belly. I was eating everything nice and everything more, as a result of which I put on something like 21 kg. Before pregnancy, I was like 56 kg. And on the last day when I went for delivery, I was roughly 76 kg. I could not carry my own weight. Yes. So this was the only thing which I suffered, that is excessive weight gain, which normally all of us do. But in my case, I gained a lot too much of weight. Yes, now I have come back to my pre-pregnancy weight. But now I'll tell you how postpartum blues hits a woman like me. See, I am a girl who was like kind of slim most of the time, but during pregnancy and postpartum, I put on a lot of weight. And people started commenting on my weight. People started making fun of me. You have put on so much of weight. Look at your neck, it has turned so dark. How will you fix it? Oh my God, you can't go back to your old weight, all that. People started taunting when they would come to see the baby. So that used to prick me a lot, and it used to trigger me. It started triggering me. So what happens in postpartum blues or postpartum depression is we undergo some hormonal changes. So when I was pregnant, if anybody came and told me that you will be hit with postpartum blues, I swear I would not have bought that. But when I faced it, I felt that it was for real. I used to ask my mom during pregnancy, Mummy, people are discussing about postpartum blues, postpartum depression, suicidal tendencies because of postpartum depression. You think I'm also going to get it? I asked her that way. She was like, huh? Don't believe a thing that they say. I never got it. I never felt it. I am sure it is just, the sort of, the thing they sensationalize when somebody gives birth to a baby. That doesn't happen to everyone. She told me like that. So I sincerely believed her because if my mom has not faced, I'm sure I'm emotionally and mentally stronger than her. How can I face postpartum blues or any hormonal changes or any mood swings? I swear, the moment I gave birth to him, like the first 2, 3 days I was at hospital, I was like, oh wow, birthing a baby is so easy. You press a button, a nurse comes running, she helps you latch the baby. Even if you don't know breastfeeding, the nurse is always there to assist you. And you press a button, and a lactation consultant turns up and she fixes the baby's position and she makes the baby latch to you. It was all so easy till I was at the hospital. But the moment I stepped into my house, I got so many things. Because of shallow latch, I had a cut. And my baby refused to feed directly from me, because of which his weight came down. And then he had neonatal jaundice. And I had to admit him into NICU for like 2.5 days. And when my baby was in the NICU, bandaged, needles pricked everywhere, just hardly 3 or 5 days old baby. And they had that eye cap around the baby. I started crying. From that moment onwards, the postpartum blues hit me really hard. I started feeling guilty. I started blaming myself that whether it is my fault that my baby is in the NICU. But actually, in reality, it was not my fault. It was any child, any newborn gets neonatal jaundice and it undergoes some weight loss from its birth weight. But I thought everything is happening to me alone. Everything is happening to my baby alone. And I slipped into postpartum blues. Now, I started collecting a lot of information. In fact, I had collected a lot of information before my delivery also, during my pregnancy. Especially, I joined groups for breastfeeding, gentle parenting, then weaning, food, solid food group, everything I had joined. And I was collecting all the information. I thought once I give birth, I'll be a pro mommy. But that doesn't happen. Like, even if you have all the knowledge of the scientific knowledge, mind you, there are glitches everywhere. You knew breastfeeding is important, but your baby is not ready to latch. When you are trying to pump out the breast milk, you're hardly getting 20 ml, 30 ml. Your baby is screaming. There are people around you telling that, oh, you don't produce enough milk. Let's give the baby cow's milk. Let's give the baby formula milk. Formula milk, I understand, we should give if our breast milk is not sufficient. But cow's milk? When you start arguing with people, giving the scientific reason that why I should not give cow's milk, why I should not allow honey or sugar or jaggery, or for that matter, why I should not allow that, what do you call? In Kannada, we call it as Sut Aushti, but I think in Hindi it is called as Janan Gutti. Like all the jadi booties, they grind and they make the child lick so that the child's tongue becomes sharp and all. But that is prohibited. You're not supposed to give anything. You're not even supposed to give a drop of water to your newborn till the baby turns 6 months. The baby should be either exclusively breastfed or formula fed or mixed feed. So for a girl as me, I really wanted to breastfeed my child exclusively for 6 months. But I started getting all sorts of unsolicited advice from everywhere. Phone call, video call, how relatives, aunts, friends, everybody. Archana, your milk is not enough. Your baby will further lose weight because of your stubbornness. You please switch to some alternate source. This started hitting me hard. I felt very guilty. Aren't I even capable of feeding, nurturing my baby? I had dreamt of it. I collected so much information about it. Can't I do it? But yes, see here what happened in my case. I was in a breastfeeding group. On Facebook, there is a group called as Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers. So it is specifically, this support is for Indian mothers and Indian culture. They will tell you the type of food you should have, the positions in which you could feed, all the problems that a newborn could possibly face during breastfeeding, and all the problems that we could face, like engorged breasts, everything. No overflowing of milk, less milk, everything. So I knew how to regulate. I understood one fact, that unless the child latches on me, I cannot produce milk. I cannot produce milk by eating. I can only produce milk if my child latches. This particular statement I had to repeat like 100 times, 1,000 times to sink into the people around me, that milk is produced by not the mother eating. Of course, mothers should have a healthy diet, but the primary requirement is the baby should latch onto you. That's when you start producing milk. If you don't allow the baby to latch to the mother and instead you fill the baby's tummy with some other alternate source, the mother cannot produce enough milk, because the baby is the one that regulates the breast milk, the flow of breast milk in a mother. See, that's what I understand. I cannot tell you the scientific reason, but as far as I know, breast milk in a woman's body is produced by blood cells. So when your child latches onto you, a signal goes to your brain which says that my baby is hungry, please produce milk. So when the baby latches, the milk is produced. But what people think is, breast is in breast the milk is produced. It is not the case. Breast is just a storage organ. So the women who have leaking breasts or overflow of milk, they are labeled as fit to feed their baby. But women like me who didn't overflow, who had a normal size, we were told that you don't produce enough. So when all my time went in arguing all these things, it started triggering me. So these trigger signals, it is an indication of postpartum blues. Mind you, in my case, it was not postpartum depression, but I found myself arguing for everything. Your child is not sleeping properly like a newborn. Oh my God, I felt triggered. I felt threatened. Is there something wrong with my baby? So this is how it is. The hormonal changes, the mother gets worried. If a random person comes to you, a family friend, and they see you using diapers for your child, and they're like, oh my God, you're using diaper for your baby, it may cause cancer. That doesn't happen. But then we never use diaper for our baby. You are, wasting your money. When they talk like this, it starts triggering. We start feeling guilty, like, oh my God, am I sinning by using diaper? Am I sinning by using a breast pump to fulfill my baby's requirement? Am I sinning by arguing with people? In olden days, people used to pour hot water on the newborn so that the baby sleeps for a longer time. You're not supposed to do that. The temperature of the water should be lukewarm as per the season, as per the weather. If it is summer season, then it should be lukewarm. The same temperature in which you bathe, your baby's bath water should also be in the same temperature. So in summer season, if you pour hot water on your baby, imagine how tired the baby will be. And in some cases, even babies get burns also. And there are these special experienced massage therapists that people hire from outside. Those ayahs who come for, massaging your baby. They end up rough handling your baby. They end up rubbing your baby, with rough hands. And your baby is just screaming, crying. Your baby is not even enjoying it. And people say that that's the right way. Look, imagine the plight of the mother, the new mother. She is watching her baby cry helplessly. It is triggering her. So all these causes hormonal changes in us, and we end up with postpartum blues. And then there are people commenting on us. Then there are people commenting on the baby's weight. In some cases, babies are like overly healthy. They will start commenting on that also. Oh my god, your baby is bound to be obese, they say. And in some cases, like in my case, my baby was like 2.6, 2.7 kg birth weight. So he was gaining regular weight. As per the rule, within 21 days, he should regain back his birth weight. He did. Within 6 months, he should double his birth weight. He did. Within 1 year, he should triple his birth weight. Yes, he achieved this milestone. Then all the milestones my baby achieved on time. But what happens is there are some prodigy babies who learn to turn over in 2 months or 2.5 months. But my baby, being a normal baby, would try to, flip after 4 months or 5 months. That is like you have time from 2.5 months to 6 months for the baby to flip. It is okay if your baby flips a little late. But then what happens is people start comparing all the babies that were born in that span of 6 months. They will, make the babies come stand together and start comparing. Your baby was born before that baby, but that baby looks plumper than your baby. Then that baby flipped before your baby, or that baby is fairer than your baby. Maybe your milk is not sufficient. You should consider giving solids. When the infant is not even 3 months, and you are just spending all your energy arguing, fighting with everybody. They call themselves experienced. Experienced in what? Bringing up one or two kids some 30 years back is not experience. Experience is those maternity home nurses and gynacs and pediatricians who have been working in the same department of babies and mother health for the past 15 to 20 years. See, that's called as experience. For you, it was an experience some 20 to 30 years ago. Technology has changed, time has changed, many things are different now. They don't want to understand that. They are like, oh, we have also birthed baby. You act as if you're the only one. You're the first mother that birthed the baby. They start making you feel like you are turning into a fuzzy mother. But in my opinion, being a fuzzy mother is okay because your child cannot talk. Your child cannot protest. Your child can only cry. You are your child's food at that time. You are your child's security guard. There are people who come to see your baby and they start, 2-month baby, they start, bouncing the baby. They start throwing the baby, They're like, hey, nothing happens. We know we have also birthed the baby. And some of them, they, make your child sit at the edge of a balcony or the railings and they want to show the baby the birds and all. The mother's heart, naturally we will feel threatened. We cannot accept it. Somebody is trying to harm our baby. See, I am sure nothing would happen by little bit of shaking of baby. People are careful. But our maternal hormones at that point of time are like security guards. We want to like protect our baby. We want to comfort our baby. If a baby cries, we feel the pinch. This others don't understand. Our so-called mothers or mother-in-law or any aunts or distant aunties, uncles and all, they have forgotten it. They don't remember how it was to be a mother. They don't know how it was to be us. So we end up arguing and we get postpartum blues. And now postpartum depression is something that is yet more severe, where people get suicidal tendencies, where people are not able to come out of that feeling of postpartum blues, and they find themselves crying, the dullness, like after sunset you will notice that some dullness seeps into you, feel depressed. That happens in postpartum blues also. But postpartum depression, it is for the tenfolds, you can say. So in this case, you should take help from a psychiatrist, most preferably who is trained to deal with new mothers. You should approach a psychiatrist, and you should have counseling. And if you can confine with your husband, your mother, mother-in-law, or any friend about the insecurities that you are having, you should talk it out. You should not hold it within you, because if you hold it inside you, you're going to pelt up, and that's going to be really disastrous. And for those people, I'm warning you, those who come to see the baby, you better respect the mother. The postpartum care, it should not be only about the food, the comfort, the rest. It should be about the way somebody talks to the new mother. How they should talk. You don't know anything, we know everything. No, no, you should not talk that way. You should accept the fact that whatever you knew some 20 years ago or 30 years ago is no more in trend. Now you also have to adopt to the new technology, new trend, whatever new guidelines that WHO releases, you have to follow it. Like 10 to 20 years back, WHO had released a guideline that you could give mashed food after 6 months. But now WHO has revised, and they say that you can give finger food, the steamed finger food and all those things. So we end up arguing with a lot of things. But yes, you should stick to your gynec, your pediatrician, the WHO guidelines, and if you're into any mommy group where they are sharing research articles, you should stick to that. You should read that. Before you deliver your baby, I believe you should gather all the knowledge possible. You should not be dependent on any ayah, mother, mother-in-law, auntie, uncle, anyone, husband for that matter. For this knowledge, it should be a first-hand knowledge that you should get. And you should not believe everything that others say about you or your baby. But yeah, at that point of time, it really doesn't happen. I do not know how to, express it, but it is a very tough situation. So coming back to my story. In this, Sudha, she has a postpartum depression, wherein people are ridiculing her looks, wherein people are making fun of her baby, wherein people are comparing her to her younger sister, and she starts hallucinating things, and she starts believing what she wants to believe. She doesn't see the truth. So this also happens, and some mothers, unfortunately, they attempt suicide, or some even succeed in committing suicide. And in some cases, if the suicide attempt is evaded, they have lifelong mental disorder. They are not able to come out of this phase of depression, insecurity, the feeling of not in being not enough. All these things, it happens during your postpartum period. Hence, postpartum care is very important. Apart from food and comfort, the ones who are taking care of us, the caretakers, should be careful about how they speak, what they speak, how they conduct themselves around the new mother, and the sort of people they allow to see the baby. All this you should take care at that time for the mother's mental health. So this is what I wanted to discuss about postpartum health and postpartum blues and postpartum depression. I know I might not have sounded that scientific because it was my experience that I was sharing, and I hope my video was a little informative. Thank you so much.